Chasing Horses by Brooks Kohler, a story. Chasing Horses by Brooks Kohler is a fictional story about an alcoholic man living alone on an isolated farm in Texas with a corral filled with horses who torment him by rearing up and stomping their feet. The idea to write this story came to me as an experiment. At the time, I had a set of Compton encyclopedias from the 1970s in my writing room. Up to this point, they collected more dust than my attention, but one day I said to myself, I'm going to pick one, flip through some pages and find something to write about. When I chose the state of Texas in the United States, I found myself interested in the landscape, the trees, shrubs, etc. Soon the story began to form in my mind about a man spending his days lying in bed sweating out the alcohol he consumed the day before. I wanted to include a lot of detail, so I wrote about the flies on the ceiling. Here's an excerpt from the story. When he had enough, John rolled over onto his back and gazed up at the flies on the plaster ceiling. The flies crawled to a brown spot where the plaster dripped water in heavy rains. The buzzing pests unbuckled from the ceiling to change positions and fight each other for a place next to the brown spot. Their movements alone caused their jealousy for the stench of misery to soothe their appetite. Regardless of the time, whether it be bone-aching night or painful midday heat, the flies gathered to him as he festered on a rancid mattress made damp by the liquor sweats. My goal in writing this story was to focus on the psychological trauma associated with alcoholism. If you speak with a person who suffers or suffered from alcoholism, something you might hear them say is, it takes a lot of work to be a drunk. What they mean by this very strong descriptor is to get drunk for an alcoholic is a full-time job, even if they are a functioning alcoholic reserving their drinking for a particular time of day. They are on a schedule to stop whatever it is they do, procure alcohol if they do not have it, and begin their routine. If they are aware of how the alcohol has gripped them, and many are, they might try to hide their drinking, break up patterns of buying it by shopping at one location one day and another location the next, and adopt a method of consumption in an attempt to create repeated results. When I first began to write this story, I came up with an ending where John gets on a four-wheeler and takes off riding quickly out across pasture land only to flip and kill himself. In the end, it sounded stupid, and it sounds stupid to me now, but that is the kind of thing you do when you write. Your mind tries to come up with all these different routes to take, just get to a place called satisfaction. And in the process, you come up with stuff that sounds awesome, only later to learn it either makes no sense or is just dumb. So I passed on it and took an easy way out. I had a horse kill John. I figured it probable. He's drunk and angry. The horses are agitated. It just seemed possible. Perhaps not fitting, but possible one might crush him, and also not purposefully. It leaves one asking, did the horse mean to kill John, or was it an accident? Overall, I enjoyed writing this story and wrote it quickly. If my memory serves correctly, I wrote this story in one day. Some of my favorite stories came out quickly. If I have to labor at writing a story, I tend not to be happy with it upon completion. Laboring to write a story for me is akin to mowing a lawn on a hot, humid day. I cannot tell you how many times I wanted to press delete on a story I labored at. To me, a story that is a chore is a burden. I will not join the crowd of writers who talk about how much they enjoy the challenge of writing because I hate it. I want to have fun when I write. I want to get the feeling to listen to Judas Priest at high volume while I air guitar. I do not want to sit around, pause, take a quiet break, or do some useless task simply to pump more brain oil between the noggin gears. I want to love the act of sitting down to write, and that is why I say I enjoyed writing this story.